Good morning. Welcome to Jumpstart. Today we will be in Acts chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. And I'm going to start with the second part of verse 1. It says, "A great wave of persecution began that day, sweeping over the church in Jerusalem. And all the believers, except the apostles, were scattered through the regions of Judea and Samaria. Some devout men came and buried Stephen with great mourning. But Saul was going everywhere to destroy the church. He went from house to house, dragging out both men and women to throw them into prison." This is God's word. Okay, see, what had happened just before this passage is that Stephen had been stoned to death by the Jewish leaders for spreading the good news of Jesus, right? For the growth of the people that were following Jesus after he had died and gone back to heaven, right? And we see in this group of people Saul as a leader in the persecution. And what the leaders in Jerusalem thought would happen is if we stone Stephen, then this group of people that are following Jesus will just die out and it'll go away. And what they meant for evil, God turned into good. It began to be a wind to a fire, and it just grew and grew because it spread to the surrounding regions. And more people heard the good news of who Jesus was and who he is, his grace and his love, what he had invited people into, that they get to have a seat at the kingdom with the God of the universe, right? That this is who he was. And I love this. In verse 2, it says, "Some devout men came and buried Stephen with great mourning." So Jewish tradition at the time, for someone that had been stoned to death, which was dishonorable, would have meant that he would not have had the honor of loud lamentation or mourning at his death. But the believers at the time said, no, it was not right for Stephen to die this way. He didn't deserve the dishonorable death of stoning, and we are going to mourn him anyway. And this mourning spread. It spread the news of the gospel, and people had to confront what was really happening and make a decision about who Jesus was in their lives. And so this is what I invite you in today. Is there something hard or difficult happening in your life right now? Is it an opportunity for God's truth and the truth of who Jesus is to shine through and for people to know who he is through the hard and difficult things? Man, this is just truth of who we are as Christians, is that God uses the hard things in our lives to share his love and his grace and his mercy. Thanks for joining us today. Continue to power up, pour in, and spill out.